It's that time of the year when I get to escape my iPhone for a while and I get to try something a bit more exciting. Of course, this year we have the Samsung Galaxy S22 and this one is the iPhone 13. Now, price-wise, the iPhone 13 is a bit more expensive than the Galaxy S22, and depending on your location, Samsung typically gives some really good trade-in values for your previous devices. So in most cases, you can buy the latest Galaxy device for less than you'd actually spend on an iPhone. Now, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with my iPhone 13. This is actually a really good phone, one of the best phones that I've tried. But as we all know, iPhones are a bit boring. And when I switch to a device like the Samsung Galaxy S22, that excitement of a new smartphone kind of comes back for a while. This S22 is also my first Samsung device that's using an Exynos chipset. All the Samsung phones that I've had up until now are using Snapdragon CPUs, but I was buying devices in North America. This time around I bought this one in Europe. So this is the European version of the Samsung Galaxy S22. And now I can kind of understand why people typically don't like Samsung devices that are using that Exynos chipset. Compared to my last year's S21 that was using a Snapdragon CPU, this one doesn't feel as smooth as the other one, even though this one is the newer device. So just to give you an example, if you would open Facebook on both and you just scroll up or down as you typically do on Facebook, the last Galaxy S21 that I had was smoother than this one. This one doesn't feel as smooth, even though this one is the newer device. So I can kind of understand why people aren't big fans of that Exynos chipset. Now this one gets something extra compared to all the other Galaxy devices that I've had in the past. This one can actually take two SIM cards at the same time, something that you cannot do with the North American Samsung devices. So I'm kind of excited about that because this way I don't have to carry two phones with me at all times as I do now, because I do have two phone numbers. So this way I can have two SIM cards in this device. And that brings us to today's video sponsor, which is ESR. They make phone cases, they make screen protectors and camera lens protectors for your brand new Samsung Galaxy S22, S22 Plus, and of course the S22 Ultra. They sent me a couple of cases for my S22 and I'm kind of happy to use a case on my S22 because if you drop a phone like this or a phone like the iPhone 13, there is a very good chance that the phone will break. So if you do have a case on it, there is a much smaller chance that the device will get damaged if it falls. This clear case here still allows you to see your phone's color, the phone's frame, and overall the phone's beauty, because this is a beautiful phone overall, but with a case like this you do get some extra protection. So on the corners here we have some extra material, so if you do drop the phone on a corner it is better protected. The camera module on the back of the phone, so the case is raised just over that camera module, so whenever you're placing the phone down, you're not actually touching the table or whatever surface you're placing the phone down with the camera, so the cameras aren't gonna get scratched. And the same goes for the screen, so the case is raised just over the screen, so if you do place the phone down this way, you're not actually touching the screen with whatever surface you're placing it on. And if you need even more functionality from your phone case, you can get a clear case that has a stand built in. So this way, if you're watching videos or anything like that, you can just put the phone down and the case will hold the phone, so you don't actually have to hold it in your hand. So something that could come in handy in many situations. And if you need even more protection for your phone, you can always get a camera lens protector. You'd basically apply this over the camera module here, and this way the cameras aren't gonna get scratched, they're not gonna get cracked and so on. So added protection for your device. Thanks ESR for sponsoring this video. I will leave some links in the video description if you want to check out this case, if you want to check out the camera lens protector, and of course the clear case. And now let's go back to our video. So what does the S22 do better than the iPhone 13? Well, there are quite a few things. The first one would be the screen. So even though we have the same screen size, you do get more screen on the S22 when compared to the iPhone 13, mostly because we don't have that notch. Then we have a higher refresh rate between the S22 and the iPhone 13, so 120 Hz versus 60 Hz. Now, of course, you could always buy the more expensive iPhone 13 Pro, and then you'd have the same refresh rate, but then the price would be much higher on the iPhone 13 Pro compared to the S22. The screen on the S22 is also a bit brighter, so you can see the screen better in direct sunlight, that you can actually see the screen of the iPhone 13. And with this one, you also get an in-screen fingerprint scanner. And finally, this in-screen fingerprint scanner works decent. So you just touch the screen and it unlocks right away. With previous Samsung devices, I wasn't a big fan of that fingerprint scanner, but it seems to be improved on the S22. The next big difference is on the back of these two devices. So on the back of the iPhone 13 we only have 2 cameras, on the back of the S22 we get 3 cameras, so we have an extra telephoto lens. To get a telephoto lens on the iPhone you do have to buy the next model, which would be the iPhone 13 Pro. So again, you'd have to spend more money to get kind of the same. Now, the cameras on the back of the S22 this year are really good. I've actually done a camera comparison between the S22 and the iPhone 13, and for most pictures, with the main cameras, the ultra-wide cameras, and the telephoto lens, of course, the S22 does seem to do better than the iPhone 13. Now, the iPhone 13 does better for video recordings. I'm not sure if that has to do with the fact that I have the Exynos version of this device, but for video recordings, yes, this iPhone 13 is still better than the S22. So I'm gonna leave a link to that camera comparison in the video's description or the top right corner if you wanna check it out. Another thing the S22 seems to do slightly better, just slightly better, are the speakers. So both devices get dual speakers, one at the top, one at the bottom, is the same on the iPhone 13, but the S22 does seem to have the somewhat louder speakers. So let me play a couple of songs here on both devices so you can see how those speakers sound. But for me, I feel that the S22 does the sound a bit better. So let me show you that. The S22 also charges a bit faster, but the battery life on the S22 is nowhere as good as the battery life that you're gonna get from the iPhone 13. So the iPhone 13 you can kind of get about a day and a half on one charge. With the S22 you're gonna have to charge every single day. So at the end of the day this is done, but with this one I actually have about 40% left. So the battery life on the iPhone 13 is much better than the S22, even though this one charges a bit slower. And the S22 also supports reverse wireless charging. The iPhone 13 doesn't support that. Performance-wise, the iPhone 13 has the more powerful CPU, so out of the two, this is the more powerful device. So if you'd be to run benchmark tests on both devices, the iPhone will get the higher benchmark scores. However, in day-to-day usage, you're not actually gonna feel any difference. It was kind of the same with last year's S21 and the iPhone 13. You wouldn't really notice a difference. For gaming, they both do just as good. I mean, they both get just as hot and they start throttling games after a while. But for day-to-day usage, you're not actually gonna notice a difference, even though this is the much more powerful device. As for the eternal battle between iOS and Android, I don't think we're gonna get into that in today's video. We did talk about that multiple times in the past. So iOS has some downsides, Android has some downsides, but overall you can still do the same thing on either device, just in different ways. And it comes down to how long you've used a system. Because now I can actually do everything on the iPhone that I can do on this Android device. So it comes down to how well you know your device, but you can basically do the same thing on both devices. So is the Galaxy S22 better than the iPhone 13? Well, yes and no. For certain things, yes, it is better. For certain things, the iPhone 13 is better. So if you have an iPhone 13, obviously there is no reason to go buy a S22 thinking it will be so much better. There is really no reason of buying an S22 even if you have an S21 from last year. The S21 from last year is just as good. I am lucky that I get to try all these new phones every single year whenever they come out, because a lot of people cannot do that. But if you have a phone that's a year or 2 years old, there is no point in actually buying a new phone because your current phone is just as good still. You can still play all the games on it, you can make phone calls, you can do anything that you can do on this brand new phone. So keep that in mind, maybe upgrade every 3-4 years because these days phones are that good. Alright guys, hopefully this video was useful. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.